no, not again. Hello, my name is Trydar. Welcome back to Subnautica. I mean Minecraft. Today I have a few more tutorials that I'm going to show you. We're going to start off with the prawn suit, and then I'm going to show you some more of the tube designs. So we will begin today, as I said, with the prawn suit here. And the first step you will need to do is to construct the feet. As you can see here, it's just a very simple combination of blocks. Now in each stage I will be showing you an increment of 2 blocks. So each stage farther up will be 2 blocks higher than the previous stage. So with your feet done, you now want to construct a bit more of the legs here and part of the lower assembly of the arm. And just replicate the blocks that you see on the screen here. And with that done, we move on to the next phase, which we're constructing a bit more of the arm over here, and a bit more of the legs and the body of the prawn suit here. So if you need to, just pause the video and replicate the block pattern that you see here. Kind of complicated, but it's not too difficult. And then we can move on to the next phase, which here we're constructing the part of the prawn suit that you're going to be standing in here. It's got a little bit of light blue glass. Part of the arm over here. The back of the suit here. And the arm over here that goes out this way, like that, and it's got a little sea lantern right there. Once you get that done, we move on to this phase over here, which this phase is mostly concerned with this area up here. It's just the body. We've now gotten the most complicated part done. You want to start connecting the arms up here and adding a bit more glass here for the interior of the pod. And here's a view around back. And with that done, I actually see a little mistake I made. You don't want to build that block there. You need to trim that off from the model so it's symmetrical on both sides. There we go. So the next to last phase here is going to be making the shoulder areas up here, completing the glass dome up here to enclose the prawn suit. And here's a view around back, like so. And once that is done, we now move on to the final phase, which all you have to do for this one is put a little antenna with a sea lantern on top of it. I'll have a sea lantern on the bar. But just make a little antenna thing like this. And with that done, you will have your completed prawn suit model made. We will move on to the next tutorial, which is going to be this glass tube. Last time I showed you how to make a standard tube, and this one is a variant of that, which is going to be all glass. It's a little bit different, so I wanted to go over it in some detail. So you want to make your feet down here on wherever you're going to have your tube. Personally, when you're doing this, I would recommend that you start building the floor of your tube at the height that you're going to want to have it with the rest of your base. And then once you have this made here, then extend down the legs or the stilts that the tube is going to be sitting on down to the bottom, because I imagine you're not going to be building this on a flat world, so your terrain will be different heights around here. But once you do that, you can put down your feet at the bottom according to this pattern here. And it's the same distance apart as the previous model, by the way. So once that is done, you want to extend your stilts all the way up or down as you're doing it, and make this pattern here for the floor. This is going to be the floor of the tube you're going to be walking on, and it's symmetrical on both sides, by the way. Very simple step. So once that is done, we will now move up 2 blocks, and this is going to be the interior of your tube. And you're going to start adding in the glass here. I'll give you a view underneath here as well. Good slow view around here. It's the same on both sides. And with that done, we move on to the next phase, which is 2 blocks farther up. This is a very simple phase. All you have to do is take the blocks you laid out in this layer here and pretty much extend them all up 2 blocks. And there's also some interior glass panes for details on the insides here that I've added. Of course, these end caps will be open on both sides unless this is an entrance, because you can attach the tubes together with each other at the yellow boundary marker here. In other words, if you want to have one tube and then another tube on the side of this, you do this by creating a tube like I'm showing you here, except this part over here you chop off, and where this is over here, you use this as your center line and build the rest of the tube. And I think I had better show you an example of that before I move on. I'm pretty sure I have one over here. Yes, here's one. Okay, so I described that slightly wrong. I got the center line block wrong. It's actually this one over here if you want to connect your tubes together like that. It's not the yellow block, it's the one right beside it. So you're going to want to have 2 yellow blocks and build it according to this pattern here. Okay, so we will return over here and I'll show you that. So we were at this phase over here. You had just extended the walls all the way up, and now you want to cap it off. And that's just another 2 block segment. And it's done according to this pattern here. You just step it in and put it on top of each other like this. And I've cut this one in half so you can see an interior shot here. Okay, now that we have covered all of the straight tubes, it's now time to talk about the bending tubes and the tube intersections. I think first we will talk about the L-shaped tube right here. So I'll show you a complete model of this. This one has a window in it, by the way. If you don't want the window, just make all the glass here white concrete blocks. So this intersection is for if you want to have a tube go off in one direction. If you want to have it turn right, you can have it go this way. Conversely, if you want a tube that goes left, just use this here as your center line and build this stuff on this side instead and this stuff on this side over here, and you will have a tube that will turn left instead of right. Got it? Okay, so here is the feet pattern for the stilts below. These right here are 1, 2, 3 blocks and 2 more blocks that way. 3 and then a 2, like that. And just lay it out according to this pattern. And once you do that, you will then go up to build the floor of the tube here, and it is in this pattern here. Notice how one of these stilts here intersects with the outside area here. And over here at the bend, there is a cyan block that is missing. So with that completed, we will now move on 2 blocks farther up, and I'll give you a good slow view of this here. And you want to build the tube here according to this pattern. You want to start with a layer of cyan terracotta, and then put some glass on the outside if you're adding the window to it. Otherwise, you can just add the white concrete in place of the glass. And here's a shot of the inside. Now remember, I'm showing you a sealed tube here. If you want to have this connected to something, and I assume you will, you don't have to build this section here, because this will connect over here to the next section of the tube. And let's go back over here to the reference model, and I will show you an example of that, a completed example. And where is that? It should be over here. Here's one. So you can see it's connected along the yellow line here on both sides, and you can see we have the tube on the inside here, and it bends and goes off in this direction over here. Like so. Alright, now that I've shown you what that's useful for, let's go up another 2 blocks. And this section, you're extending up the walls, I believe. Here we are. So you're extending up the walls on the inside like this, according to this pattern here. And you just extend them straight up using the color-coded materials as is shown here. And with that completed, there is one more step. We go up 2 blocks and we put on a very simple top. You just want to use a couple of sea lanterns here and there as accents, because we want this to be lit up not only on the inside, but also on the outside, so we can see what's going on. And you want to build it according to this pattern here. And let's knock this open so we can go inside and take a good look at it from the inside, like so. Alright, now that you know how to build that tube, let's digress for a moment and talk about the ladder tubes, because there are some tubes that you can put a single ladder in. But if you want to, you can add a ladder on the inside of the tube like this, and this can connect the top and the bottoms of tubes. You can put these pretty much wherever you want, but I would generally put them, probably knock a hole here and have it connect down there. And it's a very simple tube. It's just a little cross structure like this, with some banding of cyan terracotta and glass, yellow concrete, and a cap of cyan terracotta up here. So with that shown, now I want to show you, I removed this over here because there is something you can do over here. It's an addition. If you want to cap this off, but it doesn't go to another structure, what you can do is, if you don't want to build a hatch on it, you can build a little sort of half-sphere observation globe on the end of it, like so. Because this cyan ring here is the same as this ring is here. And you just want to put up a 3-layer thing of glass blocks here. I believe this is just a 3x3, and then you want to put a 3 ring around it, a 3 and a 3 and another 3 and 3. And you want to do that on these sides here. And just want to have it match the cyan terracotta like that. And I will show you this in I better show you this in orange concrete so you can get a first-hand view, because sometimes the glass can be a little hard to see. So we want to build it like this here, and this here, and that there. And that will give you a little glass cap on the end of it, like I'm showing you here. Okay, now that you know how to do that, I believe there is one more thing for me to show you in this set of tutorials. I think in the next tutorial videos, I'm going to be showing you how to build some of the larger rooms. We'll probably start with the multi-purpose room and the foundation and some of the other rooms. But before we get to that, we do have to talk about the last tube intersections here. This is going to be the T intersection, because it looks like a little T here. There's also a cross intersection, by the way, so bear that in mind. If you want to build a T intersection, that's going to be this one, but if you want to build a cross intersection like this, then you want to use the design for the T intersection, as I'm showing you here, but use this as the center line, and mirror this on this side. So keep that in mind while I'm describing this to you, because this is going to give you 2 tubes for the price of 1. Now, the feet for this tube is the same design as the previous tube I showed you at the beginning of the video, so I'm going to skip that. The floor design is also the same, except in the middle here, you want to build out the intersection. And this might be a little hard to see. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, by the way, and then 3 blocks, and then another 4 blocks over there. So if you want to make this into a cross intersection, you would build a 3-block thing over here, and you want to have that go out for 3, 4, 5 blocks, like so. Is that 5 or 6? Okay, that was 6 blocks. My mistake. So once that is done, we now want to extend it up a little. This is a 2-block increment slice here. Should be very familiar to you, except on this side, we're bending things around a little bit in this pattern here. And this is what it looks like on the interior here. Give you a good view of this. And this side over here, by the way, should be identical to the very first tube I showed you. And this section over here, as you can see, is just mirroring this section over here. Okay, with that done, we now want to extend the walls of this 2 blocks straight up according to this pattern here. And this may look a little complicated, but it's really very simple. Give you a good view of this on the inside. And on the outside, it's the same as you see here. Okay, and the last phase to finish that, you want to go up 2 additional blocks, and you will be putting on the top cap like this on the outside according to this pattern here. And I have sliced this one in 2 so you can see it in profile like so. And the only interior details that's going to be different from the exterior is adding these little 3-block wide cyan terracotta beams on the roof here. And you want to build it according to this pattern here. And remember, all you have to do is knock out the end caps on this side and that side if you want to connect this to other tubes. And here is a completed cross intersection, because remember I described to you that if you draw a center line here, This side is exactly the same as this side, and this side here is exactly the same as this side here that I've just shown you how to construct. So if you want a cross intersection, just build it here according to this pattern here. I think I didn't even add any additional feet down here on this also. So it just stands up on the same forced tilt design as the previous tube segments. Okay, this completes the tutorial for the first download set that I released. The next set will contain the multi-purpose room, and I think the probably the glass dome and the rail tubes, and some of the smaller rooms. And that will be the second set and the third video. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.